Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Objectively Yours portion of the show. And I'm John Mauricio. This afternoon, mind you, I have some very special guests straight from the state of California, Menlo Park to be exact. And she is the author of the book, The Most Unlikely Champion. I don't know why it's unlikely. She's very capable looking, huh? Right? And my guest today is no other than Vera
Cool.
Ku.
Yes, Vera. Cool.
Welcome to our show, Vera.
Thank you for having me.
I'm amazed with the title of your book, The Most Unlikely. Why is it unlikely?
Well, you just picture when I first started to shoot or learn to shoot, I was a middle aged Chinese housewife.
Oh.
And I have never shot before. And I went to take a class in firearm safety. And there I was, really afraid of guns, and I had a couple of incidents where it really, the idea of gun really frightens me. So, and I asked around, and they have a class at the Enza College, and so I went there, was planning to take just one course, but I ended up staying for 2 years, for 7 quarters of firearm safety class. At the end, my instructor told my husband, he says, well, Vera is going to be able to outshoot 98% of the population out there on accuracy, only on accuracy. And so she said, well, if you want to become better, you can go out, you have to go out to do competitions. So it was very unlikely. I was a mother of, I have 4 kids,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was just basically a housewife, and I helped my husband with his business. And for me to become a world champion was not on my mind at that time.
Oh my. At what age did you start shooting?
Okay, I took the firearm safety class when I was 41. I went.
41.
I went to
So
the
it's not too
class.
late for you guys.
And then I was in class for 2 years. And after that, I look around to see what competitions are about. My husband helped me to find the places they offer club competitions.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for 2 years. And after that, I I felt my gun was not accurate enough for my shooting, because
Uh-huh.
I believe at that time I could shoot better than the gun that I have. So I asked around, how do I get a better gun? And the manager at the gun shop told me, so well, there's this guy who just won the Steel Challenge A class, and his name was Jim Young, and he comes in on Thursday to practice. And I was there at the gun shop on Wednesday, and I said, well, I'm going to come back tomorrow. But as I turned around, there he was. Jim Young was at the door, and one day early. And so I asked him, would you help me to order a better gun? Because I believe my gun was not accurate enough. And he said, he looked at me, he says, well, is it the gun or the shooter? Implying that maybe
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
my problem. And I told him straight on, and I looked at him and I said, I believe it's the gun. And he said, well, come back tomorrow, bring your gun, and show me how you shoot. And so the next day, I went with my husband, and he put out a target, 25 yards, and asked me to shoot. And it was a bullseye target, so it's a round dot on a target. And I finished shooting maybe like 3 magazines, so that's about, it could be like 18 shots. And afterwards, he shot my gun, at a different target, and then he decided, he says, okay, I'll help you to order a better gun. And so he helped me to order a better gun. I know nothing about guns. So he called a gunsmith and ordered the gun. In a way, from that point on, I wasn't going to be any kind of champion. It was not in my plan, right? So, and for a woman of my age, to go into a range without my husband to do competitions, it looked really odd.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody would ever think that I could make it to become a champion.
What grains of bullets? How many grains?
At that time, I was shooting a 38 Super. It's such a long time ago. Let me think. Okay. I want to make sure that I say it right. It was a 38 Super. I shot 38 Super for that custom gun that I had, that Jim Young helped me to order. But before that, I was shooting 38 Special, and on a revolver, and
That's hard to. That's hard.
well, I think
At 25 yards, that's
25 yards. That's how I learned. It was a revolver to begin with, and I shot revolver all the way through, I think, until I get my first custom 38 Super gun.
Oh my God! You 38 is your favorite.
38 Super, well, it's not so much of my favorite. I was told to do a 38 Super. Like I said, I know nothing about guns.
Vera, a lot of this negative news about shooting and things like that. People are afraid of guns. How
Yes.
come you're not afraid?
I was afraid. I was just like everybody else. I was really afraid of guns. And,
But what makes you overcome the fear?
I think ignorance is a big obstacle for. It's one of the big reasons for people's fears. I think I was really, really afraid of guns, and then when I learned how to shoot a gun, I was no longer afraid of the gun because I know what a gun does, and I know how far what it takes to make an accurate shot. I've been in practicing for the last, doing shooting sport for the last 20 some years, so I can tell you that I'm not afraid of guns, but I'm afraid a gun will hurt me, yes.
Okay, so before we go on to some other topic, I want to congratulate you first for writing this book,
Thank you.
Unlikely Shooter. Why is unlikely shooter? People that look at it, oh my God, beautiful lady, unlikely?
Well, I consider myself unlikely. It's because I was raised a traditional Chinese woman. I was supposed to stay home and serve my husband and take care of the kids.
So what is so wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I did it for the longest time. I'm still doing it. I
Yeah.
still serve my husband. I serve him all his fruit cut and prepared on a platter. So he doesn't even know what an orange without a skin looks like. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But tell us more about the book, because the audience are interested in reading the book, buying the book, and where can they buy it?
Okay, my book is available on Amazon.com and also available on Barnes & Nobles. And I understand that Balboa Press, they have my book too. I think Amazon is the easiest way. It's on Kindle ebook. And I'm going to have a new cover for this book and new formats for the inside. I'm going to add
Oh,
pictures.
this is a beautiful lady.
Thank
Why
you.
change that?
Well, this is my first book. This is my first book. I don't know what I was doing. I'm just, you know, thinking a way to publish a book. But now I'm informed that in order to sell the book, it has to have a contemporary look.
Yes.
And then, and people likes pictures. So I'm going to have pictures inside the book also. The format is going to change a little bit, the order, but the story is the same. So this is the original. This is going to be a collector's item because I'm changing over to a new cover.
You mentioned that you are from Hong Kong. Can you give us a glimpse of what is it like to be a teenager growing up in Hong Kong?
Well, I was born in China, and I believe I went to Hong Kong with my parents when I was 3, and then I stayed there for 8.5 years. So I left for United States when I was 12 with my parents to come to stay in San Francisco Bay Area. But in Hong Kong, I remember my childhood was very uneventful, and I spent most of my time looking out windows from my third floor, from our home in the third floor
Well, you live in
apartment.
Kowloon?
I live in Hong Kong. It was
Oh.
a new territory called the North Point. But now I understand North Point is very crowded, is totally different. I never had a chance to go back and visit the area. But in those days, I was just sitting by the window and looking down on the street and look at everybody, window watching, and play with dolls and play with my brother and sister on, maybe cutting out newspaper to be used as money, and we play buying and selling. So anyway, that's my childhood. Nothing extraordinary.
How long have you been doing competitive shooting?
For competitive shooting, I started when I was around 47. I was more serious going into it. And so, yeah, I started doing competition when I was 47.
And how did the U.S. Olympic Committee pick you to represent America?
Okay, I am not in the Olympic event.
You're not?
Not in the Olympic event, but we're in the World Championships because I think if you remember, there was a Summer Olympics in Athens, and our team, Bianchi Cup, was planning to do an exhibition at the Olympics for Athens.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that very well because I was trying, I think they must be talking about that when I was 56 because I was thinking, oh, by the time the Olympics comes around, I'll be 58. It's kind of old to go to Olympics, I cannot imagine such an old person would go to Olympics. But anyway, what happened is 9/11 happened. And there's no way that our event or our kind of shooting is going to be presented at the Olympics because all of us shooters are sniper grade. We're all high master grade. And you can imagine any country can cultivate a 12-man team and compete in the Olympics. We're all snipers going into Olympic Village. It's not possible.
Okay, there are many different disciplines in shooting. Which one are you involved with?
Oh, I have done many. I have done bullseye. I have done silhouette, but it's a modified silhouette because that was my beginning of shooting. And I was doing steel challenge As a matter of fact, because you're Filipino, I want to tell you, Filipino countrymen, that your country has the best speed shooters, and there are quite a few famous ones. And I understand you want to induce,
Dionisio family.
right. I will let you know the names of the shooters that is notable that you may want to induct into your Hall of Fame. But I did Steel Challenge, which is a speed shooting. Then I did USPSA, which is IPSC, is a running game. It's like very much like SWAT. Then it's a 3-gun. It's a long distance handgun, which weighs 7 pounds, and the bullets it shoots is 223, and 7 millimeter
Wow.
bench rest. And then Steel Challenge is part of it. Speed shoot, steel plates. It's a different format from the regular Steel Challenge. And then the 22 Olympic format. So it's 3 guns, 22, 38 Super for me, and then the 227 7 millimeter bench rest.
Okay.
And
What-
okay. And now I'm shooting. I was specialized in Bianchi Cup.
Yeah,
Which is-
that's my question. What is
Okay.
Bianchi Cup?
Okay, Bianchi Cup is event that requires high level of accuracy, and so for me, I'm shooting in the open category, which the gun I'm using is a 45, 1911 45
Ooh.
slime frame.
That's
that-
heavy.
Yeah, well, the gun weighs about 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Then I use a 38 Super. It's suited for a 38 Super because that is a caliber that I can load up past a regular 45 millimeter handgun. The load is going to be hotter than that, or I can load it down to 9, close to 9, and so Bianchi Cup is got 4 stages. The first one is the mover. The mover is a target running from right to left at 10 feet per second for 6 seconds, and then again is left to right for 10 feet per second for 6 seconds. And the distance we have to shoot is 10, 15, 20, and 25. So when the target shows up behind a barricade, you draw the gun and you start shooting while it's moving. And so
You just shoot the hostage.
yeah, for my category, I have a race gun that is suited with all kinds of accessories. So I have a scope which has a red dot inside the scope. It is not a laser, it is an electronic scope. So there's a red dot in the center of the scope. And but the function is very much like a regular gun, metallic sights. If you jerk it, you'll miss it. So, but the recovery rate is a little bit faster. I have a compensator on the end of my gun, and so the gun is about this long, and then I have wings on the side for the barricade event, which is that it's like a door in front of you, and we draw the gun once the target is turned. We draw it and shoot on the left side of the target, and 6 shots. It's a limited time frame, and then we draw again and change hand and shoot on the right side of the target. So there's 2 targets on downrange, and then the distance is 10 yards, 15 yards, 25 yards, and 35 yards. So the farthest one is 35 yards. It took me 3 years to master the skill of shooting on that event, because I shoot alone, I practice alone, I travel alone. I'm not with any particular groups, so I have to kind of find my way, and by experimenting different techniques and learning how to shoot that. So that's the barricade event. And so the wings I have guns, I have two wings, one on each side of my gun, and that helps me to mount and steady the gun. And because I'm very small compared to the other shooters, which are mostly men, and they are anywhere from 50 pounds over my weight or to 200 pounds over my weight. I'm 120, so the weight, I am at a disadvantage. I have to make sure that I can maneuver so that I can hold the gun down steady while I make the shots. So that is the barricade event. And the third one is plates, steel plates downrange.
How many yards?
It is 10 yards, 15 yards, 20 yards, and 25 yards. So there's 6 plates. For Bianchi Cup, it is a game of who is making less mistakes. So any kind of missed shots is going to cost you the championship. So you have to really, really focus when you do shoot. And for the plates event, I go prone. So I drop to the ground at a signal. It's an audio signal for the plates event. So at the signal, I pull out my gun and I drop to the ground and I shoot from the ground. Because I'm doing prone at 15 yards, I have to shoot fairly fast. So that requires me to practice hundreds and hundreds of times. By now, it's thousands of times I practice dropping to the ground, having the perfect alignment, perfect sight. So the fourth one, it is the practical event, and that one is 10 yards. You shoot left hand and right hand. So you shoot both hands on the first two strings, and then the last one I have to draw the gun and change hands and shoot with my weak hand on the 2 targets downrange. And then after 10 yards is 15 yards. So this is all turning target signals. The target turns, you draw your gun, you shoot. And 15 yards, and then it's 25 yards and 50 yards. 50 yards is half the football field. And for me, for my level of shooting, I have to shoot a target that is 4 inch in diameter. So that requires a lot of practice. I think starting maybe 10 years ago, my eyesight was going off. I'm going to be 72 by this December. So 10 years ago, my eyesight was changing rapidly, and I start not able to see clearly. And so I taught my brain to see a different picture, to see it blur. So I see this blur picture. If I do it, shoot it in a certain way, I'll hit the center. So that requires a lot of training, a lot of time in practice.
Okay, you heard the thing from the champion. But before we go, I would like for you to buy this book, The Most Unlikely Champion. And you will learn more about handgun shooting from this book.
Oh, I think it's important to let everybody know this thing. This is not a book about guns or shooting. I'm not teaching anybody to shoot. This is a book about a story of a woman who took the biggest punch in her life and came out stronger at the end. It is a story about love, hope,
Oh.
forgiveness, and kindness. So it is about every person's story. You will be able to relate to my story, and I promise you that this book will entertain you, will make you laugh, it will also make you cry.
Oh,
Now-
I don't want to cry. I just want to laugh.
I have guys who have read it, who gave me feedbacks, and they told me they cry. And
We
one
will
of
give you
them-
feedback for sure.
I will appreciate feedback, and give me a rating on Amazon.com.
Okay, again, hey, buy this book, Amazon.com, and start crying. Again, this is Joe Mauricio. Thank you for sharing your Sunday with us, and I hope to see you again at the range. Mabuhay!